So thank you for coming today, and I just want to thank Mike from D10E. We just spoke at the event in Korea. It was fantastic, and everything here is amazing as well. The title of our presentation is Open Unity and How Humanity Survives and Thrives on the Blockchain. So let's get into it. I'd like to start off, in particular, talking about our team very quickly. And the reason is because we've assembled a team truly world-class, and it crosses several areas. One is obviously advisors, entrepreneurs, global and technical. In terms of global, it's important to note that in our company, not a single one on the upper management team lives in the country they were born in, and we all speak multiple languages. In fact, we have 20 different languages across 8 different countries. This brings a level of global approach that is rarely seen in these types of projects. And I think especially with blockchain being global by its nature, it's an important point. And on the technical side, we have assembled literally the leaders in the industry in terms of messaging and communications. And we'll drop some names later. But suffice to say is we're ready to go, and our team's going to get us there. So I just want to take a step back for a second and look at kind of where we are in the context of the history of humanity. And if you look, we've gone through many epochs of evolution, and in some cases revolution, starting with agricultural revolution, industrial revolution, and now the digital revolution, which is where we are today. And all of these areas and evolutions have been fraught with dynamic change that at that time, the people always think the world is ending and the future is bleak and all these things. But humanity, we've always managed to thrive, and we've always managed to get to the next step. But every one of these changes across these revolutions, it's drastically altered the way we look at ourselves, the way we govern ourselves, the way our economies work, the way people live their lives. And this is no different. But what's happening now is particularly interesting because we are on the cusp of the technological singularity. And it's sad, but very interesting that Stephen Hawkins passed away. He's obviously one of the thought leaders in terms of the singularity. And we at NYNJA, we believe that we need to achieve a state called open unity in order to go into the singularity and thrive on that. And the whole concept of open unity is about coming together and be able to work globally and communicate globally in a way that enables us to literally climb this ladder of evolution to the singularity with confidence that we're going to achieve and thrive. So let's take a step and look at the internet age, which is, I'm 38 years old. I grew up, literally watching the birth of the internet. And I remember when Google came out, I was in college at Penn State, and one of my friends, Brian, introduced me to Google, and their mission statement was really moonshot at the time. They said, we're going to organize the world's information and make it universally accessible and useful. And it sounded crazy at the time, but is done. They did it. And it's still in progress because there's always more information, but they really did do it. And so now we're entering the cusp of the blockchain age. And what we're doing now is we're organizing the world's organizations, and we're making them also universally available, but also secure. Okay. Let's have a look at what really makes up human society. How are we different than animals, per se? There's 3 main areas that we've identified. 1 is communication. 2 is commerce. 3 is governance. And these things are certainly related in many ways, but they're not necessarily intertwined. And in order to unlock the human potential that we know is possible globally, we need to get organized. And so, again, even though these areas, communication, commerce, and governance, are tied together, and they're interconnected in many ways, but they're not together. And what blockchain technology offers is the ability to converge these ideas of communication, commerce, and governance on the blockchain and build a society where it's global and frictionless and secure. And so this is what we're working at NYNJA, and this is what we believe is the concept of open unity, when communication, commerce, and governance come together in one. So what we're doing now, so we're building the first point in a very big system, which I'll go into, called the NYNJA Communicator. So this is our first product, and it's a global messenger. And the main point here is that if we can't communicate, then we can't collaborate. So we need to, at a base level, we need to drastically upgrade the tools that we use in order to communicate. And I know every one of you on your phone probably has Skype and WhatsApp and this and that and the other, but these tools are nowhere near what is sufficient for the level of communication required over the next years in order to get us to the point where we're comfortable and ready for the singularity. So if you look at our screenshots here, just a few, our messenger and communicator includes everything you need from the basic communications, but also the wallet, the payment, the governance built in. But again, the communicator that we're building is only one piece of the puzzle. What we're really building is the entire ecosystem. And the ecosystem is open, blockchain-driven, and available for everybody to build on top of with our SDKs, open APIs, and even you can launch your own node on the platform. So what we're building is essentially a global network that everyone can be part of, that is secure, that lays the baseline for communication, and integrates the entire economy within it. 3 verticals in particular that we're interested in is education, research, and the creative. And I want to say in particular, we are not here as academics just with ideas. We are building this now. We already raised, even regardless of the ICO, we already raised $4 million. We've got a team of 25 people on the tech team alone. We're building this for a year. We're going live this year. And I just want to point out in particular on the creative, we've been talking with Wesley Snipes, for example. One of his visions is to have a world where we can distribute the entire movie production process and using virtual reality and all these things. And so we're working with thought leaders like that to be able to understand the use cases and how these business models work so that we can incorporate these verticals into the blockchain and get uptake on day one. Another area that's personally important to me is the future of work, because we all know that right now it's a global world in theory, but in fact we're very siloed. And even within companies, let alone across companies, people aren't really working together. So what we're doing is creating, as one of our verticals, an on-demand freelance marketplace, an on-demand professional marketplace, which is the purpose that if you like Uber, it's a perfect example. You got drivers driving around, you got riders who needs cars. There's nobody putting them together until Uber comes out. All of a sudden, everything you need is right there. We're doing that for work. A quick point on our token sale. As I said, we already raised a few $1 million to get started, so we're going. In terms of our token supply, it's going to be 5 billion coins. We're going to have a hard cap of $112 million, which is 5 cents a coin. And please, let's go into this. Anybody who's interested in talking more, I'd love to offline. In terms of our private round, we started it about 2 weeks ago. The public is slated for April 17th. And you'll see it in the white paper. We can go into details, but it's a fairly standard chart. One thing that I do want to point out in terms of the contribution allocation is that we're putting equal and even a little bit more emphasis on marketing and user acquisition, as well as development and operations. And I think that's important to note. We're also in the process, which I could talk more offline, of working a deal with a merger, which is going to be bringing us 15 million active users on day one to our platform, which I can talk again more offline. So why blockchain? I think this is important because people always say, why blockchain? Why blockchain? When we went through the internet age, in the beginning it was the same. Why internet? Why internet? Why internet? But eventually, you realize the internet is the future. Everything you do should be based on the internet. we take it for granted. And it's the same thing with blockchain. Why build systems that are opaque when you could build systems that are transparent? Why build systems that are changeable when you could make systems that are immutable? Why make things that are owned by a company when you could build things that are shared by everybody? Why build insecure systems when you could build secure systems? And why build barriers? And why try and open up bank accounts when we can operate in a permissionless free world? So taking this into account, we start, with NYNJA, we start from the fundamentals. What does this technology provide? We build it from there. It's an open platform. We invite you all to join us and get involved in the project. If you're interested in learning more, please come and talk to us after. We've got a great team here, myself, Marshall. We've got David here, Alec, JR, Tony. Please feel free at any time to talk to any of us. Thank you very much.